What's going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we are here for a Smackdown review from last night's episode of Smackdown on Fox. What was supposed to be. This was the plan going into yesterday's episode of Smackdown. WWE was going to use thus yesterday and today to tape 5 weeks of Smackdown. Tomorrow and Monday, they were going to tape 5 weeks of Raw, and NXT somewhere in there, they were going to tape 5 weeks of NXT. Well, when we get to SmackDown this week, lo and behold, Vince McMahon changes his mind because, in his mind, and because there are contracts in place for USA and Fox, where WWE only is allowed 3 episodes of SmackDown and 3 episodes of Raw that are to be taped because they have 2 European tours and a Christmas episode. That is the contracts that WWE has right now. So in Vince McMahon's mind, that he's going with the thought of we're not in a massive panic, we're not in a global pandemic, and all this other stuff going on. So he feels that if he was to tape all those 5 weeks and put them on, that he would lose a lot of funding, and that would give USA and Fox an out as to hold funding for them. USA, not a chance. USA needs Monday Night Raw, whether it's taped or live. Fox, on the other hand, Fox is a lot more stingier, but it is, again, we're in unprecedented times in the years of the media, in which everything shut down. XFL's gone. We'll talk about that on tomorrow. Basketball's down. Soccer's down. Hockey's down. Baseball hasn't started its season yet. Just everything is going down. And this could affect other sports later in the year with baseball all the way and football and everything else that comes through. So the fact that WWE is like, Vince McMahon's like, God damn it, we're going to go and do live starting this Monday from here on out. One, I think it's stupid. But 2, I see where he's coming from if it wasn't the fact that we're in this global pandemic. If it was any other reason why they could not go live, I could understand why Vince McMahon is like, damn it, we're going live whether they want us to or not. But I'm pretty sure NBC Universal, who owns USA Network, and Fox Sports would understand that, hey, this is one of those times where, you know that little clause behind the contract where you only allowed 3 episodes of tapes? We're gonna forego that, and we're gonna let you do as much as you can. I mean, AEW is taped through mid-May. Reveiw got released yesterday. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. But we are at a time where Vince McMahon is not thinking very smart. I understand why he wants to do it, why he feels he needs to do it, but I think it'd be better off going with taped over live. They had talent fly in for yesterday and today to tape SmackDown, and he's gonna have people fly in tomorrow for Raw for the next few days, for the Raw on Monday, and Sunday and Monday. Now, a lot of people who flew in thinking, oh, we're gonna be doing this we're gonna do 5 episodes of SmackDown, which is 10 hours. That could be done in 2 days. I'm now I flew in because I'm not gonna be on this episode of SmackDown, which definitely was not live. You could definitely tell, I believe it was in the Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss tag team title match, that there was no goddamn way they went from a spot in that match to another spot when one came back from commercial without it being taped. But there's a lot of talent who came in, they were probably up in hotels or staying with people who live in the Orlando area. There's a lot of talent in WWE lives in that area. And they're like, okay, I'm going to be here for 2 days. I'm going to tape 5 episodes, 10 hours of SmackDown. I might get used 2 or 3 times. Then I'm going to go home. And in 5 weeks, we'll see what happens. All of a sudden, I was like, nope, guess what? I didn't get used this week. I'm flying home, and I'm going to have to fly back next week because WWE needs me to be used. Now, I don't know what else to do about this, but this is what WWE is going to do. Now, Fox The only way this gets done to where WWE is shut down or they have to tape is if Fox and NBC Universal go to WWE and it's like, wait a minute. With all the things that are going around here, we are going to obey. We're gonna void this entire contract thing for this year. So go back, tape as much as you can for these, like the next 4 days, tape as 4 or 5 days, tape as much as you can, and then let your talent go and rest and be with their families, and go from there. That's the only way. I mean, UFC 249 was supposed to be happening in 7 days next week, but the ESPN Disney went to Dana White and said, "Listen, stand down. We don't want to risk your contracted fighters." So that's what happened there. If Vince McMahon will continue to do this live every week until somebody comes to him and says, "Listen, you need to shut down. Take the next 2 days to tape as much as you want. It doesn't matter if it's taped or live. Just get 5-6 weeks in, and then we'll go from there. But right now, you don't need to be live every single week, because I don't care how much you're taking somebody's temperature. You're not going to be able to sit there and get a true reading on everybody. So that is the up-to-date on everything that's going on here. We'll have to see what happens on Monday. Maybe Fox and USA step in. They put the foot down. It's like, listen, you're going to have to do this instead of doing this. If you want to be live, we don't need you to be live. If you want to do content, fine. If you want to stay in Stamford, Connecticut and do in like studio shows for the next 4 or 5 weeks, that is fine. But only time will tell. We'll have more news hopefully next week. Now, the first thing we saw on this episode, first off, Corey Graves was back. Corey Graves, who hasn't been seen since all this went down, has been Michael Cole, usually by himself, but sometimes having guests. So having Graves back, at least, it felt a little bit more like it brought back a little normalcy, which, with Corey Graves being back, also tells you that Carmella is probably back too, because those two have both been MIA since this entire pandemic stuff started. But it brought back a little bit of normalcy. It helped alleviate having to have Michael Cole by himself, which, mind you, has been horrendously bad. Nikki Cross, Triple H, they did some stuff on there and made it a little bit better. But having Corey Graves back brought you a little bit back to, well, this is what we're used to hearing. Smackdown feels a little bit more normal than it did the last 3 weeks. Of course, the first thing we have is Braun Strowman is out here. After he won the title from the old Universal Champion, says he did more than answer the door when opportunity knocked. He knocked it off its damn hinges. Took spear after spear from the champ and refused to stay down. There's a reason that the former champ is a legend and a Hall of Famer. Strowman says he got back up and put him down for good, and now he's the champion. He calls it the greatest moment of his career, and out comes Shinsuke Nakamura by himself. No Cesaro, no Sami Zayn, just Shinsuke Nakamura. He comes to the ring. Strowman says this isn't funny. Asks Nakamura what he wants. Nakamura brings up how Strowman just said you better answer the door when the opportunity knocks. So he says, knock, knock. Strowman isn't laughing. Nakamura says you're supposed to say, who's there? He's knocking on Strowman's door, and he goes on and says, Strowman says, no one tuned into SmackDown to hear Nakamura talk, so let Braun have his night, but he will knock the crap out of Nakamura. Nakamura goes on and repeats a Japanese proverb, which I don't have a damn clue what he said. Strowman says, I have a proverb that can be heard in any language, and later tonight, Nakamura is going to get these hands. Cesaro, out of nowhere, sneaks in and tries to attack, but Strowman just knocks him out of the ring, allowing Nakamura to kick him in the head from behind, which Strowman brings Strowman down to one knee. Nakamura joins Cesaro on the ramp as they regroup. Strowman is furious in the ring, and Nakamura's music hits, and we look on. As they look on, and that is going to be your main event for this episode of SmackDown. Now, this obviously was going to be the blow off this entire mini feud that they've been having. Of course, this has been going back all the way to pre-Royal Rumble. Well, pre this year, it was actually last year when they did the whole Secret Santa crap. And how Strowman's like, oh, if you want to get me anything, Sami Zayn, you can get me an Intercontinental title match. And then that just snowballed to eventually he won the Intercontinental title from Shinsuke Nakamura, who eventually lost it to Sami Zayn. And then, of course, he took over and got the Universal Championship. And still to come in the show, the Dirt Sheet plus Otis and Mandy Rose and the tag team champions and the former tag team champions for the women, Asuka and Kairi Sane, get their rematch and we go to commercial break. This was also the first show, or the second show. I guess they didn't do it on Monday. This week was the first time on Raw and SmackDown we didn't get, well, we'll take you back to SummerSlam in 1952, 1982, or we'll take you back to Royal Rumble 2015. We'll show you a match that has nothing to do with the storylines they are building to. Apparently, they had a very limited roster going into WrestleMania. Now we're getting to after WrestleMania, and they must have a little bit bigger of a roster, so they have more they can do. Plus, they called up a tag team from NXT, which we'll talk about later. Women's Tag Team Title WrestleMania rematch: Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Bliss Cross Applesauce, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross. One question I have about this: didn't Shane McMahon 2 years ago say the rematch clause was antiquated? We're doing away with the rematch clauses. What happened to that? Why are we having a rematch less than a week later? 6 days later from the title match between these two teams at PC Mania. Why? Why? Back from break, and we got the tag team champions and the challengers from night one of WrestleMania in a rematch. So, Kairi Sane, I said it on the review for PC Mania Day 1. Obviously, I think the reason they're doing this rematch and the outcome as it was is because I still think Kairi Sane is leaving. I think Kairi Sane is leaving. She's going to sign with Stardom and also be able to work AEW at some time, maybe if she wants to, as Kairi Hojo. But I think this is WWE's way because she took the pinfall at PC Mania. She took the pinfall last night. So I think this was the end of Kairi Sane, who was not there on Monday because that was taped back when she was still in quarantine. So basically, this match has Alexa Bliss taking a lot of the heat during the beginning of the match. Asuka and Kairi Sane dominating Bliss and Cross for 85% of this match. But in the end, Sane yells in frustration and goes to the apron. Sane tags in and goes up top for a signature elbow. Cross moves out of the way and Sane rolls through. Cross knocks Asuka off the apron. Bliss tags in and goes at it with Sane. Bliss drops Sane with the DDT, but Asuka pulls Sane to the floor to break up the pin. Cross leaps off the apron, but Asuka catches her with a knee. On the way down, Cross is laid out. Bliss goes up top, hits the Twisted Bliss to take both challengers down on the floor, and the way she hit the Twisted Bliss, and it looked like her knee or something of her hit Asuka in the side of the head. It didn't look pretty. Bliss brings Sane back in, goes up top, but lands on her feet as Sane moves. Bliss is not happy. Bliss and Sane go in as Cross tags in. Bliss with a big slap to the face. Cross comes in, hits the purge. 1, 2, 3. Bliss and Cross retain the tag team titles. And Kairi Sane takes another pinfall loss, probably out of the company. Cole confirms Nakamura for Strowman for later in the night, and then still to kind of look back at Mandy Rose and Otis from Mania and their love and whatever. Back on the perch is Elias. On the Performance Center, he thanks the fans for taking care of King Corbin. At PC Mania, he asks fans to turn down the lights at home and join him in the next song. Don't worry about the neighbors, he says. Starts performing his new song. Mentions running to win Money in the Bank. Just thank you, good night, and that is that. Is it just me? I'm not the big musical expert or anything, but is it just me in this? All of his songs start with the same riff, start with the same beat. It seems like this guy has the same beat going on every single time he is out there playing a song. I mean, is that what all artists do? It's just what he does. Graves tout that WrestleMania PC Mania was the most social event ever, even though apparently, and this came out this morning, thanks to What Culture Wrestling, that WrestleMania was the least socially active on Google searches in WWE. With nothing else going on sports-wise, the only other thing that's going on was, news media coverage. WWE could have had a shoe-in for people just looking at WrestleMania left and right, and it was very, very low apparently, which is not surprising because more people care about how do we get through this pandemic so we can get back to, hugging people or giving people high fives or being in crowds for sporting events. How long until that happens? We don't know. But they have to tout that as the most social ever. Then Cole leads us to a video package of Mandy Rose and Otis in his WrestleMania 36 win over Dolph Ziggler and what happened between Rose and Sonya Deville. Out come Ziggler and Sonya Deville. They are not happy. They they start to yell at the announcers about the video package. They just want what is best for Mandy Rose. Tucker's out next. He takes the mic and says he's sorry to interrupt Ziggler and Deville's meltdown, but clearly Ziggler is smitten with his friend's kitten because we have to use that line. Tucker says, "You know what? I got some photos for you, Dolph, and you deserve to see these," playing off what Dolph Ziggler said a couple weeks ago about Otis and him being with Mandy Rose at the time. He shows us the video pictures that were posted on social media earlier in the day. But he's like, "Dolph Ziggler, you and me have some unfinished business to do after what happened last week. And take care of it right now." Tucker heads to the ring and we go to commercial break as it's going to be Tucker versus Dolph Ziggler. I'm hoping that the fact that they had the whole Mandy and Otis thing happening and Tucker doing his stuff on his own, this isn't WWE fast tracking the way to slowly break off heavy machinery to where Tucker and Otis are going to be their own thing. I don't want to see that. Nobody on this channel wants to see that. Nobody who watches any wrestling wants to see heavy machinery break up. Please don't do that. Apparently, on an Instagram video of Mandy's earlier in the day, Otis made a appearance, which is where those photos came from, and he suggested that Mandy Rose and Otis team up to take on Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville, which was originally supposed to be the match we got at WrestleMania if they would have been in Raymond James Stadium. Honestly, with or without pandemic, with or without fans, I don't think they had enough time to do everything going into WrestleMania for Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose and Otis. I think they went exactly how they should have. Dolph wins at WrestleMania, then you do the mixed tag person match at Money in the Bank. That is the best way to do that. Speaking of Money in the Bank, where it's supposed to be happening, the arena it was supposed to be happening at, that arena canceled Money in the Bank. WWE didn't do that. The arena did, so it looks like Money in the Bank is going to emanate from the PC, and I do not want to watch Money in the Bank a night with two ladder matches with 0 fans. Just don't want to see it. We see what Ziggler did to Tucker last week. The bell rings, and Ziggler takes advantage after Deville provides a distraction. Tucker comes back and hits a big suplex for a close 2 count. Tucker sends Ziggler face first into the announce table. He breaks the count and talks trash. He is just beating the bejesus out of Ziggler now. Throw him into the ring stacks. Tucker breaks the count again, goes back out, but Ziggler meets him with a thumb to the eye while Deville had the referee distracted. I don't buy that because it didn't even look like he was anywhere near the referee. He goes for a zigzag on the floor, but Tucker catches him and slams him into the announce table. Ziggler crawls to the floor as Tucker sits up and smiles. Deville yelling words of encouragement. Tucker brings it back to the ring and yells at Ziggler. Tucker catches Ziggler with a big power slam, close 2 count. Ziggler and Tucker with strikes in the middle of the ring as Tucker drops Ziggler with a big right hand. Tucker poses for the camera and yells at Ziggler to get up. Tucker with a big crossbody from the second rope, but Ziggler somehow kicked out. Tucker yells at him to stay down and shows some frustration. Tucker catches a kick. Ziggler sends him shoulder first into the ring post. Ziggler immediately follows up with a big super kick. 1, 2, 3. Dolph Ziggler is your winner. They taunt him from the ramp, and that is that. Paul and Corey Graves show us how the SmackDown tag team titles were defended, as we did get. This was the only bit of archive footage we have, was the tail end of the match of John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, and Jimmy Uso in a ladder match where you had that goofy finish where Morrison got headbutted and just fell backwards, unvelcroing the tag team championships and winning in one of the most anticlimactic ways possible. Now, I hate Velcro on titles. I'm going to say that again. I hate Velcro on titles. It cheapens them, in my opinion. You got to have snaps. Snaps make them look just more prestigious. Having the WWE, Universal, and the tag teams and all these other titles with Velcro, it looks ugly. So we have the dirt sheet. They brag about their special title defense. Miz says he's the first person to successfully defend the tag team titles from his couch. They talk about what happened at WrestleMania in the various matches. They talk about the Hey Hey rap song going gold and today and trending worldwide. Now, they pushed this one made no sense to me. Michael Cole said the reason that the Miz missed WrestleMania was because he was injured. He was sick with a cold. He didn't have COVID-19, or else he wouldn't be there. But he was sick. But they passed it off as he was injured. They're performing their Hey Hey rap song. Out comes the Usos. Jimmy and Jay hit the ring. They're going to let Miz and Morrison finish their song out there, but they can't let them do that. The two teams have words. Miz asks why they're even here as they lost as Morrison defended the titles. Miz says he's still not medically cleared to compete and can't perform tonight, and he said that the Usos and the New Day injured the Miz. If I am correct, when the segment between the Usos, the New Day, and Miz and Morrison ended last week going into WrestleMania, PC Mania, whatever, Miz and Morrison left the other two teams laying. So where did this so-called injury happen? They could have came up with something else. Oh, I don't know. They could have had I got injured doing something fancy, or I got injured trying to walk up the stairs in my house, banging my ankle, yada yada. Just something other than the Miz, the Usos and the New Day injured the Miz, when obviously that didn't happen. Out come the New Day. Biggie says the match didn't go as planned, so it only makes sense to have the other members of the three teams to compete for the tag team titles, the ones who didn't get a chance at Mania. Miz says, what part of medically unclear do you not understand? Kofi Kingston then interrupts and says that after talking to people backstage, those executive funks, and a bunch of celebrity names, that it will be Jay versus Biggie versus The Miz for the tag team titles next Friday on Smackdown. New Day starts dancing, and all three teams start jaw-jacking as we go to break. Okay, I understand why they did what they did at Mania. I don't think a a triple threat tag team ladder match would have been great going at PC Mania, especially with no crowd. The guys did what they could do with the hand they were dealt because Miz was sick and they didn't want to risk him having COVID-19, which he didn't, and going from there. Do we really need to see a triple threat match for the tag team titles with the other guys? No, we don't. I guess it's a WrestleMania rematch, but not a WrestleMania rematch next week. Nobody. We get a quick promo from the Forgotten Sons. Wesley Blake, Steve Cutler, and Jackson Ryker. Clay says they are now on SmackDown after quote-unquote dominating NXT. One problem with that. Steve Cutler, who by the way is bald now, Wesley Blake, and Jackson Ryker were hardly used on SmackDown. Outside of their run, the second place finish in the 2019 Dusty Road Tag Team Classic, they have done next to nothing in NXT. Dominating NXT would be if Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came up to the main roster. That would be a team dominating NXT. If the Undisputed Era came from NXT to the main roster, that's a team dominating NXT. Forgotten Sons, if you forgot that they were on NXT, or you forgot they were even, if you forgot that they were even still signed to WWE, I wouldn't blame you. And on top of that, they took on the Lucha House Party. Now, Sheamus had a match later in the show, and he faced off against some no-name jobber and beat him quite quickly. Why did Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, because Kalisto's not here, he must be not coming into work, but the other two are, why did they struggle against the Lucha House Party? If you wanted to book this team strong as a quote-unquote dominating force, they should have went out there, dominated the Lucha House Party, and been done and over with within seconds. But no, they absolutely got taken it to the limit. But they ended up winning in the end with their Scorpion Death Drop boot combination, whatever the fuck they call that. But it just shows you that this team is going to struggle on the main roster. The Forgotten Sons are going to be forgotten within a month. Count on it. Bliss and Nikki Cross are celebrating backstage. Cross feels unbeatable. Carmella returned, and so does Dana Brooke. Carmella says they didn't get to compete at WrestleMania, so they're hoping to make it up by challenging Bliss and Cross for the titles. Bliss feels bad they didn't get the Mania moment, but there's a line to challenge. Dana asks if they're really unbeatable, and like she heard them say, Cross and Bliss discuss their match in private. They go back over and accept the challenge. Both teams celebrate, and the champions walk off. First off, good to see Carmella and Dana Brooke back. And I know why Dana Brooke was not at WrestleMania. She was gone because she was in quarantine. Carmella, no reason why she was ever told that she wasn't there. I don't know if it was she wasn't feeling comfortable doing this whole thing, or she and Corey Graves were in quarantine. They haven't been seen since this whole thing started. So it's great to see them back. Do they deserve a tag team title match? Absolutely not. But WWE conveniently put the women's tag team titles on SmackDown by having Bliss and Cross win, but a day after they broke up the only other legitimate women's tag team that they had in Fire and Desire. Is that team going to be broken up forever? I don't know. Maybe the whole Mandy Rose, Otis, and thing ends up with Otis getting his heart broken again. This time Mandy Rose doing it because she was just playing along. I don't know. Out comes Sasha Banks with weight on stage, and out next comes the women's champion, Bayley. They head to the ring and pose for the commercial. Back from break, and Bayley has a mic. She recalls Paige trying to ruin her WrestleMania and their friendship, but she didn't, they both say. Bayley says if anyone thinks they can touch her, they can't because she's beaten everyone. In her humble opinion, she thinks her greatest moment yet was when she defended all yards at WrestleMania. She says she is the best. We're the best. She corrects. She says they are the ultimate role models for the sheep at home who thought she'd lose her title and break up as friends. They have 2 words for you. And Banks, looking in Bayley's direction, says, "Screw you." No one understands their friendship, and no one from the past, present, or future can touch them. Out comes Tamina, because we're not done with Tamina yet. Cole mentioned how it took 4 competitors to eliminate her at WrestleMania in the Fatal 5-Way. Bayley sucks up to Snooker. He tells her to shut up and say no one ever beat her at WrestleMania. It took them all to eliminate her, which then means that somebody beat you at Mania, Tamina, because you aren't the women's champion. Somebody had to beat you. He tells Bayley to be a good role model and face her for the title tonight. Banks also runs her mouth. Her and Bayley acts like she's holding Banks back. There's a pecking order around here, so you don't get to step in the champ. She says she does like to be fair, and Tamina can have a title match if she can beat the Standard, the Boss, the Blueprint, the greatest of all time, her best friend, Sasha Banks. Snooker steps. Banks doesn't look too happy about this. This is working perfectly for WWE. For this entire Sasha Banks and Bayley thing. Bayley feels untouchable. Bayley feels like she can do no wrong and that she can be reckless with her friendship with Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks is just going to sit there and take it. How long until Sasha Banks doesn't take it anymore. Hopefully, like at the last pay-per-view before SummerSlam, and they could lead up to SummerSlam with Sasha Banks and Bayley. Will WWE actually let that happen? I don't believe they will. The last thing, then Tamina gets the last word, and she says, "Hey sis, your bestie just screwed you." She leaves while Banks and Bayley are talking about it off microphone. Banks still doesn't look too happy at all. Sheamus versus Cal Bloom. This was nothing but a squiggly squash match. Bloom gets maybe a move or two in. Sheamus bro kicks him. 1, 2, 3. That is that. Sheamus stops to stare down Graves and Corey as they are talking about Jeff Hardy. Jeff Cole Graves set up and sends us to a part 1 new in-depth series on Hardy that will air over the next few weeks. This is chapter 1, The Rise, and it looks back at the beginning of Hardy's career and tapes from when he was a teenager. We also see parts from the Hardy Boys run in WWE. Okay. I'm a fan of Jeff Hardy. I have been a fan of Jeff Hardy's for about 15 years, since I was young and didn't have WWF back in the day when I was a kid. I was a WCW guy. But my first watch of I would see him in Impact Wrestling when he made his debut there. Instant fan because just how good he is. But how many of these in-depth series on Jeff Hardy is WWE going to do? The last time they did one of these, if I'm correct, he ended up becoming WWE champion about 3-4 months later. Is WWE going to push Jeff Hardy to become Universal Champion within the next few months? There was talk, I guess, that if Braun Strowman wasn't going to be available to take on Goldberg, that it was going to be Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was a call away from being Universal Champion. How? And this would have pissed a lot more people off than by having Jeff Hardy beat him than Braun Strowman, because on his best day, without it being booked that way, Jeff Hardy's not standing a chance against Goldberg. But you're going to have him go over him for the Universal Championship? I just don't see that happening. So they went with Braun Strowman, as they should have. Now, I don't mind him doing this if they want to, but again, this is like the 3rd or 4th time in his career that WWE has done a in-depth series on Jeff Hardy. Like I said, they did one back in like 2007, 2008 when he was on the cusp of becoming WWE champion, when he became WWE champion. Why are they doing this again? I don't know. I mean, if you want to go back and watch the history of Jeff Hardy in WWE, you have the WWE Network. They have docuseries from the Hardys on the WWE Network. Why do we need another retrospect? Again, fan of Jeff Hardy's, but we don't need to see it. Now, back from break, and we get 2 Money in the Bank qualifiers announced for next week. Dana Brooke and Naomi on Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan. Also, Mandy Rose will try to clear the... Sonya Deville will try to clear the air with Mandy Rose. Sasha Banks versus Tamina in the triple threat match will also take place. So we have a very stacked card for next week. I do like the fact that WWE is finally bringing back Money in the Bank qualifiers. I think it's been stupid that WWE over the last few years have just been, well, you know what? We're just going to put this person in, this person, this person, this person, this person in. It's going to be 2 Money in the Bank matches. Both going to have Raw and SmackDown stars in it. So we are going to see probably 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, or 4 from Raw and 4 from SmackDown. And as you see, there's going to be a men's and a women's. Dana Brooke or Naomi, Cesaro or Daniel Bryan. I'm going to say Naomi and Cesaro are winning this. I think Daniel Bryan is going to get screwed. And honestly, I would like to see him and Drew Gulak be a tag team in the tag teams division. Just saying. Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was an okay match. Nothing really... It was an okay match, but nothing really special happened. Braun Strowman dominated. Cesaro got involved. Didn't get distracted. Shinsuke Nakamura got some hits back. In the end, Braun Strowman gets hits with a really funky Kinshasa. Gets back up after kicking out a 2. Looks to capitalize on this again. Nakamura does. Catches him with a running power slam. Strowman does. 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman stands tall and raises his title and says, "This is mine. This is the start of my reign." When all of a sudden, the Firefly Funhouse intro interrupts. Bray appears on the screen. He shows his flashes of the Fiend, finishing John Cena off in the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. Wyatt says Cena was right all along. We really can't see him. We see Strowman watching in the ring, and Wyatt congratulates him and says he's so happy for Braun. We hear his whispers coming from the Wyatt head lantern. Wyatt says no, that was a long time ago, and he's sure he's sorry. He has learned his lesson by now. We see flashes of Strowman back in the worst part of Braun Strowman, which was his Wyatt family days, you know, with the long hair all around and the fact that he was greener than grass. Wyatt says he brought Braun into the swamp and gave him hope that he turned his back on Wyatt. Turned his back on his family and his creator. They want to forgive you. Should we forgive him for that? All the puppets are saying no, and their own reason why they should no. Wyatt said, except for Ramblin' Rabbit, who loves Braun Strowman, he loves everything that Wyatt hates. And he says, you know what? I'll forgive you. If Braun Strowman says he's sorry. Braun says he's not playing these games with Bray. Braun taunts Stein and says his next lesson will be about sharing, because Braun has something he wants back. And he's pointing at him, it's like, it's right on your shoulder. As one circle closes, another one begins. He says in a deep voice, since I brought you in this world, I'm going to have to take you out. He laughs and waves goodbye. The music starts back up, but Strowman says, wait, I have something to say. Anytime Bray wants, Strowman is ready to let him in. Wyatt stares down, just got that menacing look on his face with all serious. Braun mocks Wyatt and says, goodbye, see you later. And Strowman mocks Wyatt. Yeah, Strowman's music hits and Brian stares down back at him in the Firefly Funhouse as Raw Smackdown goes off the air. WWE did not go a week without booking themselves in a motherfucking corner. Here's the scenarios. 1. Bray Wyatt wins, and Braun Strowman becomes a transitional champion. Which, apparently, obviously, he should be. And then Bray Wyatt loses to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Or 2, The Fiend takes another pinfall, is buried even further down in the grave, and Braun Strowman loses the title to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Neither one of these guys can afford a loss. Neither one. The fact that WWE has already gone out and booked Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt for this next feud is really stupid. Bray Wyatt obviously has nobody else on SmackDown besides Braun Strowman to work with. No one else who has betrayed him, because Randy Orton's on Raw and they can't have the Fiend go after Randy Orton because Randy Orton's on Raw and Fiend's on SmackDown. So this is going to be one of those things, just like Seth Rollins and The Fiend, where you're going to book these two in a corner, and neither one of these guys can afford to lose, and yet someone needs to lose unless they're going to pull the bullshit they did at Hell in a Cell, where they're going to have I could just see it now. Money in the Bank happens at Mania, at the PC. And just like with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, this feud is going to go through May, June, and July, with Braun Strowman and The Fiend trading wins or having screwjob finish after screwjob finish after screwjob finish after screwjob finish, to the point where we're tired of it. We don't want to see anybody else have this championship and beg somebody other than Roman Reigns win the championship. All looking bad from here for Braun Strowman. So the scenarios again are: Braun Strowman is a transitional champion, or The Fiend is deader than dead. And either scenario, whoever wins this championship or keeps the championship going into SummerSlam, if he's back, they're going to lose the title to Roman Reigns. It's already a foregone conclusion. The way WWE wants to work, they want Roman Reigns to be their Universal Champion. And it didn't happen at Mania because of all this pandemic stuff that's going on, which, by the way, should not have been his decision. The day that all this thing got shut down, Roman Reigns should have been told Roman Reigns is out of WrestleMania because of all this stuff, and WWE is thinking about him. But no, they let him decide, which was very freaking stupid. Very, very freaking stupid. And here we are now with WWE booking themselves into a corner again. So again, Braun Strowman is either a transitional champion or the Fiend is more irrelevant as we go. Either way, nobody wins. I have a feeling that we're going to see Braun Strowman retain, and it's going to be another stupid ass finish. But that's WWE for you. Well, that is your SmackDown review for last night's episode of Smackdown on Fox. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Fox Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The Fox Club. Find me on Instagram at The Fox Club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for what was going to be episode 115 of Unscripted. Until then, my name is Franz, and I'll see you guys later.